So at this current moment in the NBA season, the Utah Jazz have looked absolutely dominant, as they have the best record in the entire league with a 42-15 record. Despite how great they have looked this season, the Jazz have plenty of doubters, with many people thinking that they're just a regular season team, and they're often compared to the 2015 Atlanta Hawks. And basically, the Jazz are just really disrespected. But honestly, I'm very high on the Jazz, so much so that I actually fear them in the postseason. So in today's video, I'll be discussing why you should fear the Utah Jazz. But before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA content and to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. And comment on this video, start a conversation with me, as I do respond to all comments. And play that intro. The first reason I think you should fear the Utah Jazz is the fact that in the NBA, one of the biggest keys to winning a championship is three-point shooting. And if you're a team that has a lot of three-point shooters, or if you're a team that just hits a lot of threes at a high percentage, you can be one of the best offensive teams in the league, and you can keep up with the best of the best on offense. And the Jazz can do just that, as they currently rank as the number 4 best offensive team in the league, and a huge reason for that is their elite three-point shooting. The Jazz are 4th in the league in three-point percentage, as they shoot 39% from 3, and the crazy thing is the fact that they're 1st in the league in attempts, and they're 1st in makes per game. So obviously the Jazz are a team filled with a bunch of shooters. Their best shooters are guys like Donovan Mitchell, who shoots 38% from 3, Royce O'Neal shoots 37% from 3, Bojan Bogdanovic shoots 38% from 3, Mike Conley shoots 41% from 3, and Joe Ingles is shooting a crazy 48% from 3. Jordan Clarkson also shoots 34% from 3, which isn't amazing, but defenses still defend him from the distance as if he shoots 40%. And guys like George Niang and Ersan Ilyasova shoot over 40% from 3. So to me, it's clear that the Jazz are a team that is completely filled with snipers. But the thing with the Jazz is that they're not just their shooters aren't just guys who like hit shots off the catch. A lot of their shooters are guys who can still hit threes if they're asked to shoot it off the dribble via a setback or a pull-up, or basically anything. Donovan Mitchell is great at doing it, and he does it at an elite level. Jordan Clarkson's really good at it. Mike Conley is capable of doing it, and Joe Ingles isn't terrible. Guys like Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Joe Ingles, and Jordan Clarkson are very good at doing just that, as they're all good passers. They can collapse the defense, get to the rim, and then kick it out to shooters. That just makes them a really hard team to guard. The only fear with the Jazz is that if their threes aren't going in, they could get into some problems in the postseason, since their main game plan is to hit a lot of threes. But the Jazz shooters are legit. They're not just on fire this season. So in the postseason, I'd expect them to still hit their threes at a decent rate. And in my opinion, they're the best three-point shooting team in the league. And if you're that good from distance, you can keep up with teams like the Lakers, Nuggets, or the Clippers. Basically anyone. And if a team can outshoot you from distance, I think you should somewhat fear them in the postseason. The second reason I believe you should fear the Utah Jazz is the fact that if you want to be a championship contender, you have to be good on both sides of the floor. And as I previously discussed, the Jazz are one of the best on the offensive side of the floor, but Utah is also one of the best teams in the league on defense, as they currently rank 4th in defensive rating. Utah is a team that can defend the best teams in the league at an elite level, and the stats back me up, as the Jazz hold their opponents to the 2nd worst field goal percentage at 44%. The Jazz are also 1st in terms of holding teams to the less three-point makes per game, which is something very important, since it's against the elite teams that they will need to be able to stop them from hitting open threes. The Jazz also hold their opponents to the 2nd worst percentage in the league. The Jazz only give up 19 free throws a game, which ranks 4th in the league, so that's just absolutely amazing, since it shows that they're disciplined and they don't commit dumb fouls and they don't give up easy points, and that type of stuff can help you win playoff games and series. The absolutely biggest reason the Jazz are so great on defense is because of Rudy Gobert, who definitely is in the Defensive Player of the Year race. And I think he could very well win it, and you could argue that he deserves it. But personally, I think Ben Simmons should get it this season, and I think he will get it. But nonetheless, Gobert might be the most impactful player in the NBA, since he absolutely locks down the paint, as many players don't even try and drive in the paint when they see him. Outside of Gobert, the Jazz's best defender is Royce O'Neal, who's a really good perimeter defender who could do a good job on the elite perimeter players in the West. He could do a solid job on guys like Kawhi Leonard, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, and others. And basically outside of those guys, the Jazz don't have too much elite defenders, but they don't have any really bad defenders, since guys like Mitchell, Conley, Clarkson, Bogdanovich, Ingles, and others who play minutes are above average defenders. So Utah is a team that I think will do a good job against the best teams in the West. I think if a team is this good on defense, you should fear them, since they could put the absolute clamps on your favorite team. The third reason I believe you should fear the Utah Jazz is the fact that at the end of the games, if you want to win a championship, you have to have guys who can create their own shot, and you have to have guys who can create shots for others. And that's something that the Utah Jazz have. And in my opinion, that's what separates them from the 2015 Atlanta Hawks, because the Hawks' best shot creator was Paul Millsap or Jeff Teague, which is absolutely terrible. But the Jazz have a Donovan Mitchell, who's a 25 points per game scorer who can create his own shot at will, and he's a guy who can score at all three levels, as he's a great three-point shooter who can hit difficult threes, and he's one of the best mid-range shooters in the whole league, and he's one of the best slashers in the league. And he just has an assortment of moves, and I don't think he'll get locked down. Donovan also is a very underrated passer, so he isn't a one-dimensional player. They also have Mike Conley, who isn't a guy who's gonna ISO you, but he can hit pull-up threes, and he can get to the basket and kick it out to threes, or just get to the basket and score. Jordan Clarkson on the other end is the guy who will break you down and just purely get buckets. And in the postseason, I think he will relieve a lot of the pressure off of Donovan. Joe Ingles isn't necessarily a guy who will create his own shot at a great level, but he is excellent at getting open shots for his teammates, which is just as impressive. So the Jazz are a team that you won't easily be able to game plan, since they have a lot of players who can adjust on the fly. And I just think that's straight up a team that you have to fear. To conclude the video, I think the Jazz are a very scary team, and I think way too much people have been easily dismissing them. In my opinion, the Jazz are a team that can beat any team in the Western Conference. I think they could defeat the Suns, Clippers, and even the Lakers. And I'm a huge fan of the Jazz, and they're my second favorite team in the West outside of the Lakers. But I'd have to admit that I think in a series versus the Suns, Clippers, or Lakers, I think those teams would defeat them. But I think the Jazz are definitely capable of beating them. And even if they were to lose, it would be close. And believe me, I'm not sleeping on the Jazz. I think they could very well go all the way to the finals, but I just wouldn't predict it. But I do hope that they beat the Clippers. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know if you fear the Jazz. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel for more weekly NBA content and to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. And comment on this video, start a conversation with me as I respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.